Greetings, grand rising, peace, love, harmony, and light. This is Chief Kalanago with a brief video. Once again, I'm not doing videos to, convince anybody of anything, man. I'm just dropping the information and do what you want with it. Do as you please. But, we always have to kind of like step back into the past. Not necessarily his story, but step back into the past and start investigating, because it's only when you start digging, you're really going to uncover things. And I'm not too much, truth be told, I don't really watch TV, but once in a while, I will watch movies based on their title and based on the description of the movie, when they give a quick synopsis of the movie. And I don't really look at movie for entertainment purposes. Maybe once in a while. Rarely though. I watch movies to get a message, to see what they're talking about. And I came across this movie, In the Electric Mist. In the Electric Mist, starring Tommy Lee Jones. And it was quite interesting because there was a scene in there. Well, first, the movie is based out of Louisiana, New Orleans, and there was a scene in there where he was investigating the death of a so-called black man. All right, and his name was I think DeWitt Pregine. All right, and so. Of course, the movie may be fictional, but the place that the movie was shot, or where they found his body, was at the Atchafalaya swamp. So I checked to see if that's actually a real place, and that is a real place. It is actually one of the biggest wetland masses in the United States. All right, so that was quite interesting. But what was even more intriguing was the fact that so-called black man, they found him. So this is the narrative, right? Tommy Lee Jones is talking to one of the other actors in there. Now he's in the movie, but he's an actor in the movie. In other words, he is in the movie, he's playing an actor, and they're working on a movie, and they were shooting a scene, and they had to dig up, some spot, that was part of the scene of the movie. And that actor, right, he ran across the body. And it's, again, a black man with chains around his arms and his waist. But here's the interesting thing. So this is the conversation here, right? The guy, he got drunk, and Tommy Lee Jones pulled him over. And he told, Tommy Lee Jones told his girlfriend, listen, this dude cannot drive, so take the car. I'm going to take him. But the guy threw up. And when he threw up, he pulled, Tommy Lee Jones pulled to the side of the road and gave him a chance to throw up. All right. Now, because he didn't want to go to jail, he told Tommy Lee Jones, hey, I know where there's a dead body. All right. So he says, I know where there is a dead body. Looks like a big pile of grizzly and bones. Tommy Lee Jones asked, where was it? Where was this? He said, where the hell out in the Atchafalaya swamp. Once again, that is a real place in Louisiana, right? He said, had to dig up a scene near the old Indian reservation. Now, that got me again intrigued, right? Now, Tommy Lee Jones didn't ask. He said, that swamp full of old Indian bones. The swamp is filled or full with old Indian bones. Now, so my question in my mind is like, okay, so if the dude was a slave from Africa, if this DeWitt Pregine or Prejean, if he was a slave from Africa, why is he being buried, okay, in a swamp? Why was he found in a swamp full of old Indian bones? Wouldn't he be found in a swamp with old slaves from Africa? You know what I mean? You feel what I'm saying? So the dude says, now, if that was an Indian I found, I was wondering what he was doing with a chain wrapped around him. Now, That again in itself spoke volumes, because how could you confuse, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. And they said that, you know what, we're all slaves from Africa. How in the hell can you confuse a so-called black slave, a nigger from Africa, with one of these natives that they call the Indians? There is no comparison. There is no comparison. So my thing is, the dude is saying, now, if that was an Indian I found, and of course, when you look at the clip, which is going to follow this narrative that I'm explaining right now, you'll see that the dude was a Negro, a so-called black man. All right. And when he was running, okay, you would see his little tail feather, okay, blowing in the wind. So my question again, and I'm looking at this from both perspectives, right? Let us just say the narrative of us coming here on slave ships from Africa, we all did. Let's just say that was true. Okay? This is how I could debunk this just in this movie alone. How can you confuse a slave from Africa with an Indian? I thought the Indians, based on their narrative and their truth and the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the so-called natives, they are the original Indians. How can you confuse a black slave with an Indian? And why would he be buried in an Indian, in a swamp filled with Indian bones? Obviously, you would know he's not an Indian, right? Because he's black. Because they say that the real Indians are these natives. So brothers and sisters, I'm saying all this to say, do not be deceived. Okay. The truth is all around us. Okay. And once again, man, I've given you guys enough information to prove who we are. And we are the original people of this land. And we are the Aborigines they call the Indians. That is a fact. A fact. You feel me? Now, a swamp full with Indian bones. That means they were killing our ancestors. They were killing our ancestors. Because there's no way in hell you're going to confuse an African with a native, with these $5 Indians. There's no comparison. The dude in the movie would have said, well, hey, you know what? They found an African slave. But no, he said an Indian in an Indian swamp. You feel me? And he said, again, I'm going to repeat that. This is, it's amazing that the movies always tell the truth. Now, if that was an Indian I found, now, why would you compare a black man to an Indian if all the Indians were these natives? They were the pale skinned people. Obviously, that's a lie. The people they found here, they called the Indians, were dark skinned people. The truth is all around us, family. And once again, I'm just dropping more truth. All right. So look at the link. The clip from the movie. It's coming up next. Check it out yourself. The name of the movie is called In the Electric Mist. And that was with Tommy Lee Jones. And that was in 1965. That was just in 1965. So if in 1965 we were still being called Indians, brothers and sisters, what happened in 2019? That was only a few years ago. The miseducation of our people. In 1965, we were still being called Indians. What happened? 1970 came along. All right. We still had soul. Then they started, miseducating the people. So pay attention. Pay attention. Anyway, enjoy the clip. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a live today. So you guys tune in. All right. I'm going to do a live sometime today. Definitely before 4 p.m. So look out for that. All right. But I just wanted to drop this interesting information. Very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Very interesting. The movies, people look at movies for entertainment. Man, I look for the message. All right. And I found another little jewel. Whether the movie is based on a real story or not, I don't give a damn, because they never portray the Indians as so-called black people in movies. It's always this whitewashed $5 Indians. But I found a jewel. I found a jewel. You feel me? that swamp is full of old Indian bones. And that's where he was found. Not in a swamp filled with African slaves. No, Indian bones. And why would this man, okay? Why would this man say, man, if that was an Indian I found, in other words, there is no mistake. Okay? No mistake. So let's just say that that dude was an African. The only way to compare him to an Indian is only if the Indians and him had the same complexion. If it wasn't so, then he wouldn't have confused him with a native. You feel me? So when these natives around here talking all their BS and the hatred they have for us, they know why. Because they took our place. All right? They're usurping our land, usurping our identity, and they usurped our culture. It is time for us to take it back. That is the message in this short video. Enjoy the clip. All right? And like I said, later today, I will do a live. We got a lot to discuss. Peace, love, harmony, and light.
I know where there's a dead body.
What?
Looks like a big pile of gristle and bone.
Where was this?
Way the hell up Nachifalaya Swamp. We had to pick up a scene near the old Indian reservation. I went to take a look. I saw it sticking out of a sandbar. Oh.
Get back in the truck. That swamp full of old Indian bones.
Yeah, but... Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Dave Robichaud.
Mr. Robichaud. No, that was an Indian I found. I was wondering what he was doing with the chain wrapped around him.
Say that again.
It's a rusted chain with links as big as my fist crisscrossed around his ribcage.
Can you find that sandbar again?
Yes, sir, I believe I could.
I'm going to make a confession to you, Mr. Sergeant. DWIs are a pain in the butt. If I take you home, can I have your word you'll be in my office 9 o'clock in the morning? And sober?
9 a.m. You got it. Absolutely. Hey, I really appreciate this.
Sykes and Kelly Drummond, I want to go to the set.
Sykes is a drunk.
He's huge.
His hair grows in the dark.
Please?
Maybe we could get an autographed movie poster.
No way.
Not for you, for the Hurricane Relief Fund.
Okay, cool. Please?